Yo, who's ready to take a holiday? Because I know I am. Hello, it's me, Emma Cownley, back again to talk you through more freelance questions that I get and the answers that I give to them. This week we're talking about taking a holiday as a freelancer. How do you do it? How do you do it so that it doesn't affect your earnings? How do you do it so that you actually do it and don't just take your laptop and start working somewhere else? And how do you do it so that the world doesn't crash and burn while you're away? I've got the answers. Stay tuned. So I divided this video up into 4 parts for you. The first part is how to take a holiday without it impacting your earnings at all. So just making sure that you can keep up a good wage and a good income even though you're taking a couple of weeks out. The second is how you can go away without everything turning to shit the moment your back is turned. The third is how you can actually switch off while you're on holiday and not feel anxious or guilty or sick or worried for the whole fucking time. And the final piece is just going to be a roundup, kind of a timeline of events, starting from 3 months before you go away until the week of the holiday, exactly what I would do on the run up to a holiday to make sure that I don't lose my mind or my money or my clients. First up, wages. How do you make sure that you're not going to be fucking poor because you took 2 weeks, or let's face it, half a fucking month off for a summer holiday? Well, that's easy, my friend. The thing that I like to do, it does require a bit of preparation, so I'll give you some other alternatives as well. But what I like to do is, regardless of how much I earn each month, I take a set amount of dividends. So I'll always take my director's salary and then just a set fixed amount of dividends. So it doesn't matter if I've had an amazing fucking banging month or a shit month. I'm always taking the same amount because I'm confident that over the course of the year that all evens out and I end up with a nice little kind of financial buffer sitting in my business account. So just in case one month has been absolutely fucking tragic, and you know, I've had not nearly half as much as I wanted to earn, or I've gone on holiday for 2 weeks, it doesn't matter, because maybe a few months prior I've had a really, really great month, made more than enough to cover that deficit, and it's all averaged out in the end. So what I like to try and do is keep a nice financial cushion sitting in my business account just in case, so that I have the freedom if I need to take time off for an emergency, or I haven't had a great month, or I'm going on holiday. It's always there for me, and it helps me maintain a consistent income as well. I don't have to worry about getting more or less each month because I've made sure that I'm only taking, I'm taking a good amount to live on, but I'm not really smashing into my earnings. But as I said, that does take a little bit of kind of planning. It takes you maybe at least 6 months to get to a place where you could walk away. And if you're planning on taking a holiday next month or in the next 2 months, that doesn't really work. So another idea is to make sure that maybe 3 months prior to your holiday, you're taking on just a few extra jobs. And the reason I say 3 months or so is because you don't want to, the week before or the month before be working crazy fucking overtime, because then what's the point in taking time off if you're having to do all this overtime? It makes the job not fun again. So by staggering the amount that you're taking on over a couple of months, it doesn't impact your work-life balance as much, and you can make sure that you're building up that financial cushion so that your holiday doesn't impact your earnings as much. Similarly, you can do it when you get back, but then again, it will make it feel like you never had a fucking holiday to begin with because you've just ended up working crazy overtime when you get back. So spread it out over a few months beforehand and just make sure that when you go away you're not fretting because you know you've got that money in the bank. Obviously, it goes without saying that you're going to be making a good wage anyway because you're charging the correct amount that you should be as a freelance writer, and you're not charging peanuts. Because if you're charging peanuts, you're going to have to do a hell of a lot more work to fill that deficit that your holiday will leave, and you're probably not going to be able to take a holiday anyway because it's not worth it to you because of the amount it will cost compared to what you earn. So make sure you're earning enough before you put any of this into motion. So how do you leave the office without the world ending? That's a good question. It takes a little bit of prep and a lot of self-control. So first up, what I like to do for my own stuff is make sure that I have all of my YouTube videos, blog posts and social posts queued up using kind of a queuing tool. So WordPress that I use for my website allows me to schedule posts to go live, as does YouTube. It has a feature which allows you to schedule those things. And then I use Buffer to queue up all of my social posts to make sure that I'm still promoting my content as it's going out, but I don't have to touch it, I don't have to look at it, I just write it out, put all of the links in, all of the hashtags, queue it up and let that shit run off on its own. So I make sure that's all good to go, all set up, and I even sometimes cover myself for the week or the couple of weeks after I get back as well, just in case when I come back things are mad as fuck. I don't have to worry about that. It's all taken care of for me. Stepping away without disaster also involves managing your client's expectation. So I would always recommend a month before you go away, let them know that you're going away, the dates that you will be gone for, the fact you will not be contactable and will not be available to work in that time, and just say to them, look bro, if you know you're going to need something, get all the stuff over to me now, I'll get it all done for you before I leave so that you're not left in the lurch. You need to manage that expectation, because if you don't explicitly say you won't be contactable, you won't have a leg to stand on when they fucking contact you, which they will, by the way, while you're on holiday. So you can just not reply, like I do. Another little handy tip, you'll need a pal to help you out with this obviously, but in your out of office you could also put another freelancer's email address. So you could say, look, if this is a really mad urgent thing that you desperately need, please feel free to contact my associate, blah 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 blah, and they can help you out with any urgent copy requests that you have. If you think that this is going to happen and going to come up, it can't hurt to start that relationship when you say, look, if you think you're going to have something urgent, I can introduce you to this writer and they can step in for me in that time. Obviously you have to know the writer and feel confident that they will uphold your reputation and whatnot, and that the relationship is reciprocal. So if they do end up, you know, by any means taking the client from you, you know, it will go around and come around and they'll refer someone to you later on. You have to have that trusting relationship with them. But if you're really worried, you could try that. My final tip for stepping away without disaster is to make sure that you book out at least half a day, probably even a full day, when you return your first day back, so that you can ease back into working, catch up on all your emails, reorientate yourself, get your schedule back in order, maybe reload up your own social posts and blog posts and stuff, and just get yourself back into the groove without feeling pressure and stress and worry, because the last day of your holiday you really don't want to think, fuck, I've got such a full-on day tomorrow, I'm stressing, I've just got back and I'm already worried. Like, you don't want that shit. Give yourself time to get back into the groove and get all your ducks in a row so that you can continue the week on a good momentum, because you've had that time to just get yourself set. It really does wonders for your mindset when you give yourself the time to do that. And now we move on to the hardest part of all, switching off when you're on holiday. Freelancers tend to experience freelance guilt, which means they can't step away from their business because they're too scared to leave it. They're worried, they feel guilty, they feel anxious, they feel scared, they feel nervous, and it just ruins the whole holiday. Why would you pay a fuck ton of money to go somewhere beautiful with your loved ones or your friends and spend the whole time worrying about your business? This really comes down to your mindset and learning how to let go of that freelance guilt. So the first thing that I'm going to recommend here, and it's probably the real core of this whole video, you cannot be an energetic, inspired, awesome freelancer if you're fucking tired and drained and worried and anxious. What are you doing it all for if you can't take time away to enjoy what you've worked for? You know? So resting is just as important as working. It's something you need to do. It's not a luxury. It's not you kind of slacking off and doing nothing. It's important. So you need to get that into your mind before you even start any of this fucking shit, because it's important and it's necessary. It's also important not to be drawn in when you get contacted. You will get emails while you're away. It doesn't matter if you told clients that you're not going to be around. You'll still get emails. That's okay. As long as your out of office is on, your out of office says what date you'll be back, that you will not be contactable, that you're not going to be working, let the out of office catch it. Don't reply to the fucking email, because then you've just undermined yourself. If your out of office has said, Sarah's not here and she won't be back until the 12th, and then you reply fucking 3 hours later from Barbados or wherever the fuck you are, hi, yeah, I really, hello, what do you need? Fucking undermined yourself. You said you're going to be away. You've said it over and over and over again. Your out of office has said it, and then you've turned up and replied to the email. Don't be a chump. No, you don't reply. You don't fucking reply to that. And if somebody really pushes it and they're like, look, I really need this, then maybe reply and say, I said I wasn't going to be here, I'm not available for the work, I'll look at this when I get back on, you know, blah blah blah, as priority, but I cannot do the work for you right now. Be reasonable about it, okay? And if the client doesn't accept it, they're probably not a client that you want to be working with. I'm going to be honest about it here. If somebody does not respect your need for time off, they are not a great person to work with, and to be honest, I'd fire their ass. And if you want tips on how to do it, there's a video just that for you. Don't take your laptop away with you. If you take your laptop, you will work. You will work. You'll be like, oh, I've got a free minute, so I'll just snip on and do this. That free minute, my friend, is for getting a massage, or laying in the sun, or drinking a really disgustingly sweet cocktail. It's not for doing that extra work. Do not take your fucking laptop. If you need to, for emergencies, maybe take an iPad or a tablet or something so that you could nip on and do something if it was an absolute emergency. But if you take your laptop, you'll be too tempted, so just don't fucking do it. I'd also recommend check your emails once a day just to keep surveillance on what's happening and just to know, alright, these people have contacted me. It will help you feel a bit more in control. Do not reply to them, just keep tabs on what's happening so that you know. Once you've checked it, that's it. You're not looking at your emails again for the rest of the day. Also, stay away from social media. I follow a lot of freelance writers on Twitter and on LinkedIn, obviously. I try not to look at LinkedIn more than once a day anyway, because it's a very work-saturated, obviously it fucking is, but you get what I mean. Like, I don't need too much of that. I just need to stay connected to it. I don't need too much of it. Twitter, I follow a lot of work-related people. So as soon as I jump onto Twitter, I'm right back into that freelance, creative, marketing, ad space zone, and I'm getting all of the vibes, and it feels like I'm back at work. So I don't want any of that. I want to switch off completely, be in the moment, enjoy where I am, not be thinking about any of that. So try to avoid all social media at all costs. So now we get to the timeline. It's going to feature a lot of the things that we just talked about, but it's going to put them in chronological order. So, starting from 3 months before your holiday, this is the time you're going to start picking up a few extra jobs, squirreling away a little bit of extra cash. If you can't find extra jobs, just make sure you're taking slightly less in your dividends or your wages for each month to kind of cover off the loss that you'll be making while you're on holiday. 1 month before, start warning your clients that you'll be away, ask for any work or any briefs and just tell them that they will need to prepare themselves, and just make sure that they're, getting any projects that they know they'll be working on, that they're kind of speeding that up, or at least having your stuff ready to go before you leave, and that you've got all of your own stuff written and queued up and ready to go. So you need to start working on your own stuff to make sure all of that's ticking over while you're away. 2 weeks before, remind your clients that you will be away and start to stagger the work that you're taking on, because the last thing you want to do is get to the last day before holiday and still have a fuck ton of work to get through. There's no satisfaction in shutting your laptop when you feel worried about the status of a project. So I like to kind of cut back on the work I'm accepting so I can make sure that everything I'm already doing is in a really great place when I walk away, and I'm not trying to cram in last minute jobs and rushing myself and feeling really frazzled. So I start to stagger the work at that point. 1 week to go. Set your out of office. Make sure that everything is scheduled to go live while you're away, and then fucking shut that shit down. Put the laptop away. Leave the office. Sayonara, motherfucker. I'm so proud of you. And there you have it. How to holiday like a freelancer. Like a motherfucking freelancer, if I don't say so myself. If you've got any questions about going on holiday as a freelancer, you can leave a comment below, or you can find me on Twitter at @EJCownley. I'm always happy to chat with you guys. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It makes all the difference to me because I can see what kind of videos you like and which videos aren't so awesome. And then I can make more of the stuff that you like and less of the stuff you hate. And that's good for everyone. So until then, see you back here in 2 weeks. Same time, same place for more Kiss My A's. Take care.